Okay, I'm just going to go with this, and hopefully things will make sense as I go along. The last few days have been a little bit stressful. I mean, I don't know where to go with this. I feel so nervous. Um, well, I've had a lot on, and I launched my book, which yay, I really am happy with that. And the tension has been fantastic. I've got some interviews lined up. And just as I'm riding this high wave and everything seems fantastic, there's always someone that you throw into the mix and you come crashing down. And that's what's happened to me the last 2 days. And it started basically with one of my neighbours, funny enough. It's a quiet neighbourhood and you wouldn't expect this kind of behaviour. And my neighbour came round and he was very, very aggressive, shouting things that you just wouldn't believe that someone would be capable of saying, threatening my dad, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that to you. And this guy hasn't asked for permission to paint the fence. A few weeks ago, he even put heavy hanging baskets on him, trellis, all the way along, and he seems to be under the impression that he can do what he likes and the law doesn't apply to him. And I suppose that's what's really got to me. It really upset me. And at the time, I didn't think it would bother me as much. The shouting and my father, thank God, he was very restrained with it. But it's that behaviour, that mentality. And I've noticed in it, like sort of neighbours are being quiet about it, and it sort of psychologically sort of does my head in, that kind of behaviour, because fair enough, around here people like to be, keep in with each other, live in each other's pockets. We're just quiet. We like to get on with what we do, we keep the gardens nice and tidy. We don't bother anyone or harm anybody. But I think it's a kind of classic Great South-North divide, especially here in the UK. If you're from the South, it's sort of held against you. Not by everybody. It's not so much the youngsters where I live. It's more the older people. They have issues, pardon, burping, to do with us. They see us as that we get money, we've got money, and they haven't. And I think it goes back to the old days of the coal mines and sort of Margaret Thatcher's government, and they associate anybody that's from London or the South in the same bracket, that it's our fault for what happened to them. And to be honest, I'm a socialist in the way that I lean towards Labour, and not currently at the moment, not with how they are, but naturally that's where I am at. So I sympathise with the causes that have happened in the past. But the behaviour, with this neighbour, it shocked me to the core, to the point that my heart was racing, and I thought it was going to come out my throat. I was like, I couldn't even swallow. I was so upset. I didn't show it at the time. I just absorbed it. And, my dad came back in and I could hear the guy shouting, get back here, all this stuff. And it just wasn't neighbourly. Believe me, I come from Mitcham in Surrey, and I am a London girl at heart. And I thought I've heard everything, seen everything, but I've never in my whole life seen this kind of behaviour before. And to be honest, it's totally unhinged. Who on earth, carries on like that? If you're in the wrong, you just put your hands up, I'm sorry. And, that would have just cooled the situation. This guy lost it and exploded because he was wrong and he couldn't stand that he was wrong. And so anyway, it's got to me. Yesterday, the day before, after it happened, I think it was Tuesday, I had a meeting to go to. and it was part of my work I was doing to go and see a client, and I had to bow out. It was hard. I didn't want to. I hate letting people down. My mind just went blank. I couldn't think. I couldn't function. My legs just turned to jelly. I was a wreck in a way that I just couldn't think. I knew that I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't do it. And it got to me a bit because I'm thinking I'm going back on myself. After all this progress, months and months of building myself up to, presenting on community radio, having the confidence to write this book, being featured at Worthy FM on the radio. This is all fantastic stuff. I should be riding high, not letting some silly idiot next door who seems to be very unhinged and uneducated on his boundary and his deeds and what's in his covenants and, get to me. This isn't about me. It's not my problem. But yet how he's attacked my father verbally, it sort of became my problem. And, last night had to be the worst. I mean, the night before was difficult. I couldn't sleep, felt panicky. Last night I went to bed, had a chat with some friends online, sort of abroad, and caught up with my best friend, which was great. And I went to bed just after 11, and I got off to sleep, and I just felt really sickly. I was having these weird flashbacks, and I can't even pinpoint it, but I dreamt of this neighbour next door, and she was shouting at me, he was shouting at me, and they were literally after me, not chasing me, but just aggressively in my face. I couldn't escape them, and I dreamt I was at my workplace where I'm working, and they just came to me, having to go, get out, and then the final part of the dream was I went into my back garden, and it seemed quiet, and this is my back garden where I grew up, my childhood home in Mitcham, and there used to be this kind of like Christmas tree, like a Norwegian Christmas tree, and it belonged to the neighbour at the back of us, and it had grown up over the years, and I've never really thought about it, to be honest, in all the 9 years that I've been up here. And I dreamt that this neighbour here, I went outside and discovered that she had actually hanged herself with a sheet, like a white bed sheet, and she was hanging off the tree, and I was panicking, I was scared, I was frightened, I just couldn't believe what I could see, and I knew it was her, and I woke up from the dream, but I could still see the flashbacks of it. I was absolutely drenched in sweat. I was panicking. When you wake up and you still believe it's actually happened. And there I was, sort of just gone 1 a.m., sat up, bolt right, couldn't go to sleep, had a sip of water and tried to sort of calm myself down, and I couldn't. I just felt very, very anxious. And it sort of spreaded into my day. I went back to sleep and I couldn't get back to sleep. I woke up and it was hanging over me, the whole neighbourhood business. Eventually I decided to help my parents get legal advice. My mum gets a bit nervous on the phone, and I just decided to make contact with some of the solicitors. So after calling like one who didn't get back to us yesterday, I called up another one to follow it up. And finally we found somebody who's, I told them the case, read out the deeds to the house and the rights and where the inner T belongs to and the boundaries. And she's decided to take on the case in the sense that to write a letter to them to explain the outline of what the property is about and the deeds and their duties towards us, towards the boundary, and how it's our boundary, and you can't just put things on fences and sort of shout at people. And I think it's a positive way, because how they were, you just could not approach them, and you know, not with that aggression within them. So that was something positive today. But yeah, it's just what, you know, I just can't understand why people carry on like that. I mean, in life, we're only on this earth maybe 80, 100 years if we're lucky, if we live that long. And life is too short, really. But yeah, it's just really sort of ripped through me. Today I went to Co-op. I thought I need to get out of the house, got on the bus, bought some stuff, like some healthy food, trying to get myself healthy and trying to get rid of this darkness that I feel, like this cloud over me. And, you know, I saw their car, like, it's like, so, you know. And I decided, well, I'm just going to head home. I just didn't feel well. After walking around Co-op, my legs started to go jelly. And I had that panic. And normally it's where my blood pressure drops. And I feel like I'm going to pass out. So I don't normally suffer with that. Not for about 18 months. I think my last real episode of this. And it's all to do with having a general anxiety disorder. And sometimes, to be honest, I don't recognise the symptoms. I think, oh my God, and it's normally the panic sort of clouds your judgment. This time I just knew, and I got home, just had a splitting headache, finding it hard to swallow, and pretty much living on energy drinks, because I've got some work to do later on. I've got a place to do, a key job, and I know that I can't let them down. But this week I feel like I've let everybody down. I'm just not firing on all cylinders. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to plaster that, yes, I can do anything, smile and keeping that positivity going. But at the same time, I'm sort of crumbling and I don't like it. And I just want to get that, come on Heather, let's go spirit and carry on. But yeah, my book's out, and I've just got to be grateful for the positives that have come out of the last few weeks. Remember them and try and put a cap over this whole affair and situation, and just hopefully it'll just calm down. And you know, it just shocks me that just one big incident can actually shock you back to where you were. You know, I know that I'm never going to be cured of this. It's something I've got to live with, got to lean on them coping strategies. But this, you know, this was really, really out of the blue, and yeah, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it there. Bit nervous. Yesterday on the radio, to be honest, I got through it, but I really weren't happy with the way that I performed speaking. I was all over the place. I was crumbling, and I don't know if anyone picked up on it, but I was struggling. The only time things got a bit easier was when I had an interview, and it sort of put things into perspective about life and, you know, sort of homelessness and how things can change quite quickly. So that sort of helped me to see that, to, you know, sort of put things into content or whatever. And yeah. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to bore you all too much. Hope you have a great day, and I'll try and catch up with you soon with, hopefully, touch wood, something positive. Okay? Take care. Don't suffer alone. Bye.